Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. It's time again for my favorite video of the month. My TBR jar picks my monthly reads. I'm ready to just get on into it because I've been waiting to do this video. It's already a couple of days, like a week into July, so it's time for me to start reading. Here again is my new TBR cart with my stickers that I absolutely adore. I need to somehow figure out how to talk about the book that I read last month. I usually read more, but we were moving and I was also reading, like beta reading a friend's book, and then I started reading super late into the month because of the move, so I really only got to read one book that I can talk about, even though I read two technically. So I'm like, I can't make a whole video off of one book, so maybe I'll just like throw it in right here. Let me just talk about that first. So in June, I read The Night and the Moth, which I really loved, by Rachel Gillig. It's a gothic fantasy. I was between the audiobook and the ebook, and I loved it. I think it was written so beautifully. Everybody says that One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns was a really good duology by her. I haven't read those yet, but now I really want to because she is such a lyrical writer. Her atmosphere is so strong and so lush, and I just love how like dedicated she is to her world building. So let me see if I can summarize the book really quick, just off the dome. So essentially we're set in a world where there are these women that are chosen to be diviners, and essentially there are omens or gods which the diviners serve, and they go through this process of dreaming, which is like having the worst dream possible that you can imagine while being drowned, to kind of like give answers to these nights. That was like a horrible summary, but they find out more hidden truths within that, and there's a little bit of a mystery in it. There's a talking gargoyle, which is super cute. That character is so fun. And you just watch one of the diviners go on this journey of discovering the truth about her backstory, the truth about the world she lives in, kind of flipping everything she ever believed on her head. I really liked it. I think I would give it like a 4.25. Some of the world building was so much for me in the lingo because it was like all very created specifically for that world that like I would get confused about what certain terms meant. But overall the plot was just really fun, and even though it was like a darker gothic fantasy, something about it still had like elements of coziness and found family that I think like makes it appeal very widely. So I would highly recommend The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. That's the only book I can talk about, other than the fact that my friend Macy, who's writing her book, I read her first draft and I also really loved it. I can't say any more than that, but I'm honored to have been chosen to be a beta reader for her, and she's reading my book as well, so I'll keep you updated. Okay, that's that. Let's get on to July. I want to pick 5 prompts, as always, and then I'll put them in this jar. We're getting super low. Huh, okay. I don't know if you can read that, but it says set in a place or a culture inspired by somewhere you've never been. So that's interesting, okay. I feel like I look bald in this video because I did my hair last night, and because I have a puppy, I never wear my hair out anymore. I just put it in a braid and slick it back, and then I wake up looking bald. So anyway, inspired by a place I've never been. So we're gonna start off with my Greek mythology books because never been to Greece. My husband's been to Greece, but I haven't, so I'm jealous. So we have Stone Blind, which is Medusa's story. This is by Natalie Haynes. The only mortal in a family of gods, Medusa is the youngest of the Gorgon sisters. Unlike her siblings, Medusa grows older, experiences change, feels weakness. Her mortal lifespan gives her an urgency that her family will never know. When the sea god Poseidon assaults Medusa in Athene's temple, the goddess is enraged. Furious at the violation of her sacred space, Athene takes revenge on the young woman. Punished for Poseidon's actions, Medusa is forever. How the hell are you gonna punish her? Writhing snakes replace her hair. See, I love a thing like this. It's like you think of Medusa as this like dark evil character, but really she was the victim. Like it's like a victim origin story. Her gaze will turn any living creature to stone, cursed with the power to destroy all she loves with one look. Medusa condemns herself to a life of solitude until Perseus embarks upon a fateful quest to fetch the head of a Gorgon. So that's super interesting. I love that. I love Greek mythology. I think it might be like one of my favorite genres because it's like right up there with historical fiction blends magical realism, which are two of my favorite things together. Next is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Ariadne, princess of Crete, grows up listening to her nursemaid stories of gods and heroes when Theseus, prince of Athens, arrives to vanquish the Minotaur, her brother. Ariadne sees in his green eyes not a threat but an escape, defying the gods, betraying her family and country, and risking everything for love. Ariadne helps Theseus kill the beast. But will Ariadne's decision ensure her happy ending? And what of Phaedra, the beloved younger sister she leaves behind? Hypnotic, propulsive, and utterly transporting, Jennifer Saint's Ariadne forges a new epic, one that puts the forgotten women of Greek mythology back at the heart of the story. Love that. I need to get more into Greek mythology because every time I read it, I love it, but I don't fully know how they all intertwine, and like characters come up a lot in another character's story, and I just want to have a better understanding of that one day. You know that musical? Oh, what is it called? The Greek mythology musical, man. It reminds me of Hamilton. I don't remember it right now, but I'll put the name on the screen. My friend Isabella was telling me all about it, and like I listened to some of it and I love it, and it's just like another way of experiencing all of those stories, but also learning each individual character story and then how they weave together. And then the Odyssey is coming out. I'm just really in that headspace right now. Clytemnestra, this is the one that I'm the most interested in of the Greek mythology that I have. Essentially, this is like a coming of rage, and I love that. Born to a king, marry a tyrant, stand by helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods, and then you watch him wage war on a foreign shore and comfort yourself with the violent thoughts of your own. This was not the first offense against you. This was not the life you deserved, and this will not be your undoing. Slowly you plot. When your husband returns in triumph, you become a woman with a choice, acceptance or vengeance. Infamy follows both. So you bide your time and force the gods' hands in the game of retribution. For you understand something long ago that others never did. If power isn't given to you, you have to take it for yourself. This one is written in a way that entices me so much. It's so passionately written. So yeah, I want to read this one really bad. And it's by Costanza Casati. You guys, I vow right here, right now, this is the last month, I will choose this book in a TBR because I will read it this month. Saved it for last. Children of Blood and Bone. You know, every single month, this falls under a prompt. And I choose it as an option, but it never is the winner. It's gonna be the winner this month because there's tea. There's drama. Have you guys seen Tomi Adeyemi's like recent post that she made where this is getting made into a movie adaptation, and she posted that she is like completely against the movie. She doesn't want to be associated with the movie at all. She's got beef with the lead actress in it, and she like posted screenshots of their texts and stuff like that. So I need to see what all the fuss is about because I want to read this and see when the movie comes out what is so different about it, why she's so adamantly against this version of the story that's coming out in theaters. So I've never been to Africa. This is a fantasy set in a world inspired by Africa. There's some beef going on. I feel like that's a sign. Last month I was like, you guys, I'm so sorry. Another month of not reading Children of Blood and Bone. No. This month, we're reading Children of Blood and Bone. Zeli Adebola remembers when the soil of Orisha hummed with magic. Burners ignited flames, tiders beckoned waves, and Zeli's reaper mother summoned forth souls. But everything changed once magic disappeared. Under the orders of a ruthless king, the Magi were targeted and killed, leaving Zeli without a mother and her people without hope. Now, Zeli has one chance to bring back magic and strike against the monarchy. With the help of a rogue princess, Zeli must outwit and outrun the crown prince, who is hell-bent on eradicating magic for good. Danger lurks in Orisha, where snow lepenaries prowl and vengeful spirits wait in the waters. Yet the greatest threat may be Zeli herself, as she struggles to control her powers and her growing feelings for an enemy. Got enemies to lovers. So y'all, it's that month. I know there was one month where I did pick it, I still didn't read it. I need to read this book. Prompt 1 done. I swear, my cart is gonna mess up my covers. It's like not tall enough. All right, prompt 2. Free pick. I know what this is gonna be. Off the top of my head, I know what this is gonna be. I don't have it in physical form, but Spark of the Everflame. Heard great things about it. I'm currently writing a book. I'm looking for comps, and I just have a feeling Spark of the Everflame is gonna be a very strong comp for me. when I query agents with my new adult fantasy that I'm writing. I mean, like, I really didn't even need to think about it. I just like that one for me is work. Like, that is a work choice. Like, that is very much me researching and studying the market and my genre and hopefully finding something that fits with marketing and selling and framing my book to agents. I think I have it on Libby for the audiobook, and I have it on my Kindle as well for the ebook. So I'm gonna do Spark of the Everflame. I don't know what the plot is about. I'm using my phone to film this, so I can't even really look it up right now. But it's a very popular book, and that's all I'ma say. All right, moving on. So we have 3 more picks. I feel like I'm just kind of like running through this. Oh, okay, interesting. An author that I know has blurbed the book. That's a fun one. So it doesn't have to be like an author I've read before, but an author that I've read before has to have blurbed the book. Or do I have to have read them? It just says that I know. So there's a lot of authors that I'm aware of that I haven't read their books. So let's see. Yeah, no, I don't know this. Okay, I don't know who that is either. Well, oh, okay. That's one. Dang, don't know who that is either. This is more of a difficult prompt than I expected. Maybe. Okay, I'm aware of that author. I haven't read her books, but I'm aware of her. Okay. Oh, I know that author. Okay, we got a lot of options now. That took me a second. So for the prompt, authors that I know that have blurbed the book. For Red, White, and Royal Blue, we have Christina Lauren has blurbed the book. And I just read The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which is 2 authors actually, 2 different people who wrote together. It says, absorbing, hilarious, tender, sexy. This book had everything I crave. And this book is a romance between the son of the President of the United States and a prince of England called Red, White, and Royal Blue. Isn't that so fun? Oh, and Taylor Jenkins Reid put outrageously fun, romantic, sexy, witty, and thrilling, and I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love her. I love her writing so much. Oh, and I love it. And the President of the United States is a woman in this book. Love that. So he has beef with the prince. Okay, so it's an enemies to lovers. The tabloids get a hold of a photo involving Alex/Henry altercation. And the US and British relations take a turn for the worst. All of the, what am I trying to say? PR people are trying to like do damage control. So they are forced, so they have like forced proximity to become fake friends on Instagram to make the relations look better between these 2 nations. And I guess they fall in love. So that is so fun. And I feel like that's a good summer read vibe. So this is a great option. Next, we have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, which I haven't read. I know I'm the last person on the planet and I haven't watched it either. So this was blurbed by Abby Jimenez. Absolutely my favorite read of the year and probably one of my favorite books of all time. And Abby Jimenez, I absolutely love Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. That was like one of my first like 5-star contemporary romances that I've ever read. So this is like a forced proximity. These 2 friends had a falling out and then one convinces the other to take a final vacation with them like they used to do every year. It kind of starts from that foot where they're kind of like at odds. They end up having to ask each other, is there something more here? That's as much as I know about the plot of People We Meet on Vacation. So that's another option. Another Emily Henry read we have Beach Read. And I think I've only read Happy Place by Emily Henry. So this one was blurbed by Christina Lauren. Delightfully romantic, slyly poignant, the perfect anywhere read. I find a lot of her books have to do with like a vacation house, a vacation trip, because Happy Place was like that with the friends, and they always end up being forced proximity. People We Meet on Vacation was just like that, and then this one is between 2 authors who write completely separate genres, and they have like a vacation house where they're kind of stuck in a writer's block, and so to try to get out of that, they swap genres to try to like write the other genre and see if it helps them get out of their rut. And then obviously the romance develops from there. So I feel like that's kind of her shtick, is like we go somewhere and we're kind of stuck there and then things come up, which is fun. So that's another option. So next we have Daisy Jones and the Six, which I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Ellen Hilderbrand wrote a blurb for this, an explosive dynamite down and dirty look at a fictional rock band told in interview style that gives it irresistible surface energy, although the real power of this delicious novel is at its tender beating heart. It's an anthem and a ballad and a marvel. And then Reese Witherspoon wrote, beautifully layered and complex, Daisy and the band captured my heart, and they're sure to capture yours too. I know this is gonna be good. I just know it. I've loved every Taylor Jenkins Reid I've ever read. Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is back. And I feel like, is there one more or is that it? I just love her. I just think she's such a good author. Okay, and then our last option is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And this one was blurbed by Neil Gaiman, who wrote The Graveyard Book, right? Yeah, The Graveyard Book, which I have, but I haven't read yet. And I know that this one is about a library where you can go to different books to choose different chapters of your life, and if you would go back in time, would you do anything differently? So I like a good like magical realism, contemplative book like that. So those are all of my options for this prompt. What am I leaning the most toward? These three stand out to me the most: Red, White, and Royal Blue, Daisy Jones and the Six, and The Midnight Library. But I feel like because it's summer, something about it being summer means like this is the time to read a book like this. Contemporary romance, yeah, it's spring and summertime. I don't want to read them as much in the fall and winter unless it's also fall and winter in the book. I was just giggling so much even just reading the summary. So I'm going to pick Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. That's gonna be fun. And I feel like I have a little bit of like heated rivalry withdrawal. So I feel like this will sort of fill that void a little bit. Which isn't this, if this isn't already adapted to screen, I think it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken. Perfect. So Red, White, and Royal Blue, that is our third pick. Let's get ready for our fourth prompt. I'm gonna dig to the bottom. Let's see what we're going with. Okay, very specific. 4-word title. What do I have? I don't know if I have that. Daisy Jones and, doesn't count, The Six. Is that cheating? I feel like that's not cheating. Oh, this is tough. I don't know how to do this. Well, Where the Crawdads Sing is very obviously 4 words. But then we have something like People We Meet on Vacation. That's not 4 words, but are we really gonna count on? We try to be as specific as possible. Where the Crawdads Sing is 4 words. The Unmaking of June Farrow is technically 5 words. Great Big Beautiful Life, that's 4 words. And then we have Daisy Jones and The Six, so that doesn't count. So I guess these are technically the only 2 books I have that fit the prompt. I actually don't know the plots of either of these. So for Where the Crawdads Sing, how long can you protect your heart? For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. Ooh, I live in North Carolina. I love when a book is set where I live. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. When 2 young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life, until the unthinkable happens. Where the Crawdads Sing is at once an exquisite ode to the natural world, heartbreaking coming-of-age story, and a surprising tale of possible murder. I did not think that's what this was going to be. Owens reminds us that we are forever shaped by the children we once were, and that we are all subject to the beautiful and violent secrets that nature keeps. Tell me why I thought this was going to be a romance akin to like The Notebook. This is way more mystery than I anticipated. Interesting. Okay, so we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and then we have another Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life. Don't know what this is about. She was the stuff of legend. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. We have a writer. Hayden Anderson is the Pulitzer Prize winning human thundercloud. And they're both on balmy little Crescent Island for the same reason, to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives, tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. When Margaret invites them both for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who will tell her story, there are 3 things keeping Alice's head in the game. 1, Alice genuinely likes people, which means people usually like Alice, and she has a whole month to win the legendary woman over. 2, she's ready for this job and the chance to impress her perennially unimpressed family with a serious publication. 3. Hayden Anderson, who should have no reason to be concerned about losing this book, is glowering at her in a shaken to the core way that suggests he sees her as competition. But the problem is, Margaret is only giving each of them pieces of her story. Pieces they can't swap to put together because of an ironclad NDA and an inconvenient yearning pulsing between them every time they're in the same room. And it's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale Margaret's spinning, could be a mystery, a tragedy, or a love ballad, depending on who's telling it. A mouthful. So again, we have an Emily Henry book with 2 writers going off somewhere to kind of be against each other, but kind of work together. That reminds me of Beach Read a little bit. Again, I thought this would be a more straightforward romance, but this is giving a little bit more like literary fiction. What do I want to read more? These are so random. Like, these aren't 2 books that I often think of. This is a big book for an Emily Henry book, I feel. I feel like I can hear people screaming Where the Crawdads Sing through the screen. Like, I feel like people are gonna be like, the crawdads sing, read further. So I'm just gonna pick this. I don't know. Maybe that's just in the back of my head. But for our 4th prompt, we're gonna pick Where the Crawdads Sing. I've wanted to read this for a while, so I'm excited to see what it's like. Very different vibes than I was expecting, but I think it would be nice to mix up my TBR with a little bit of a mystery. Okay, on to our last pick for July. This is such a weird TBR. Like, I feel like this is not like a theme at all. It's just all over the place. I'll take it. A short read. That's nice. So for a short read, we've got 2 options here. Sula by Toni Morrison and The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. We just went over this one, so you know what this one is about. So The Midnight Library is 288 pages. Not particularly short. Like, for some people that wouldn't be considered short, but it's one of the shorter on my TBR. And then Sula, which I just want to get into Toni Morrison so badly. I've been watching her interviews and I just love the way that woman thinks. Oh my goodness. I just need to see how that's channeled into her writing. A friendship between 2 women, a friendship whose intensity first sustains and then injures. They're both Black, both smart, both poor, raised in a small Ohio town. They meet when they're 12, and through their girlhood years, they share everything: perceptions, judgments, yearnings, secrets, even crime, until Sula gets out of the bottom, the hilltop neighborhood where beneath the sporting life of men hanging around the place in head rags and soft felt hats, there hides a fierce resentment at failed crops, lost jobs, thieving insurance men, and bug-ridden flower at the invisible line that cannot be overstepped. Sula leaps it and roams the cities of America for 10 years. Then she returns to the town, to her friend. But Nell is a wife now. Settled with her man and her 3 children, she belongs. She accommodates to the bottom. Oof, oof. Where you avoid the hand of God by getting in it, by staying upright, helping out at church suppers, asking after folks, where you deal with evil by surviving it, not Sula. As willing to feel pain as to give pain, she can never accommodate. Nell can't understand her anymore, and the others never did. Dang. Sula scares them. Mention her now, and they recall that she put her grandma in an old folks home, the old lady who let a train take her leg for the insurance. That a child drowned in a river years ago, that there was a plague of robins when she first returned. In clear, dark, resonant language, Toni Morrison brilliantly evokes not only a bond between 2 lives, but the harsh, loveless, ultimately mad world in which the bond is destroyed. The world of the bottom and its people through 40 years, up to the time of their bewildered realization that even more than they feared Sula, their pariah, they needed her. Reading that. And this comes in at 173 pages, so significantly shorter than The Midnight Library. This is perfect for our prompt. I got this copy from my husband's grandmother, so I'm very curious to see if she has any annotations in here. I know another one of the Toni Morrison books by her does. I don't know that this one has any annotations, but I just love that this copy is like a sentimental family heirloom as well, so very excited. So this copy is from 1973. Wow, I love that. Super excited. So Sula is our last pick for our July reads. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. For the prompt that said, inspired by a place or culture you've never been to, I got Children of Blood and Bone. Is this the first prompt? Yeah, I don't really remember the order. I think this was the first one. But this is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I think I need to finally read this book and see also what all the fuss is about with all the drama going on. Anyway, yeah. First pick of July. I think it was for my second pick if I'm remembering right. I chose Spark of the Everflame, and that I'm gonna do on my Kindle. So I'm really excited to read that, mostly for research for the book that I'm writing, but I've heard really good things about it. So let me know in the comments if you've read that one and what you thought. Next, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue. This one was for an author that I know about who blurbed the book, and this was blurbed by both Taylor Jenkins Reid and Christina Lauren, and I'm very excited for these fun contemporary romance vibes. For my fourth pick, we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and this was for a 4-word title, so this fit that prompt perfectly, and it's super different than what I anticipated, so I'm curious to see what I feel about it. And then lastly, for a short read, we have Sula by Toni Morrison. I'm so excited to read this book. I just feel like this is gonna give me all of the feels. Like, I love when an author has something to say and so many points to make about different types of living, different kinds of stories that exist out there, and how someone can come from the same place and turn out so differently, or their perspective can shift how they navigate the world. And that conversation about nurture versus nature and how that applies to different personalities, I just feel like this is going to tie in a lot of themes that I'm very curious about, I'm very interested in, and I know that her brain is one that I would be overwhelmed to spend so much time in a good way. So I'm excited for this. So that is it for my July TBR and a little bit of what I read in June, my one book. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you did. Please let me know what you're planning to read in July or what you're already reading in July. And I will see you guys in the next video.